conservative political activist Charlie Kirk has been shot.
Conservative political activist Charlie Kirk has been shot.
Charlie Kirk has been shot.
A single gunshot. That's all it took to silence one of the loudest voices of a generation. Charlie Kirk, 31 years old, co-founder of Turning Point USA, standing in front of students at Utah Valley University, doing what he always did, debating ideas, defending his worldview, and challenging the narrative. And in the middle of a Q&A,
great.
Bang! One bullet, one life ended, one movement shaken. The headlines framed it as political violence. The pundits argued left versus right.
There were 2 assassination attempts against Trump. A Democratic lawmaker, her husband, and their dog were killed by a man disguised as a police officer. Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro had his home targeted in an arson attack.
We have a responsibility to all be better.
The shooting of Charlie Kirk is the latest example of this rise in political violence.
But this story is bigger than Charlie Kirk. This is about what happens when ideas become dangerous, when a culture decides that disagreement is a crime, when men who speak loudly, confidently, and unapologetically, whether in politics, culture, or the manosphere, suddenly become enemies of the state. The system doesn't just dislike strong men, it fears them. And when fear turns into hate, the result is predictable: censorship, demonization, and eventually violence.
Now it's time for us to get into this and do what we gotta do. Because we many.
Just for the court's information, we did file just recently, within the last few minutes, a notice of intent to seek the death penalty that was filed by Utah County Attorney Jeff Gray. So that should be in the court's file.
It didn't take long for police to catch the suspect, Tyler Robinson, 22 years old, a Utah resident, now sitting behind bars with no bail, charged with aggravated murder, obstruction of justice, and felony discharge of a firearm. Investigators say he was influenced by radical corners of the internet, Reddit culture, fringe ideology. His family leans conservative, but Robinson broke from them. His partner, who happens to be transgender, is cooperating with authorities and says they had no idea what Robinson was planning. Motive? Still unclear. He's not cooperating. But here's the reality. You don't have to know the motive to see the message. A man stood up, spoke, and got shot. The chilling effect is the same.
That's a lot of people, Utah, tell you what.
When speech becomes a threat. Charlie Kirk wasn't waving a weapon. He wasn't storming the Capitol. He was speaking into a microphone. And yet, in today's culture, words are treated like weapons. Disagreement is treated like violence. And so violence becomes the response to disagreement.
In the U.S. right now, increasing numbers of people believe that using violence is the way to achieve political goals. This is not like a singular problem of a certain political movement or ideology. This group counted more than 520 acts of terrorism and targeted violence just since January, and it was across all U.S. states except Montana and Wyoming. Just the breadth of that shows how nationwide and extreme the problem is. Comparing this same time period to the first 6 months of the prior year, there was a 39.5% increase in the number of events.
We've seen this playbook before. First comes censorship, then comes demonization, and finally comes elimination. The system doesn't need to win an argument. It just needs to make men too afraid to argue.
This is a dark moment for America. Charlie Kirk traveled the nation, joyfully engaging with everyone interested in good faith debate.
A week has passed, and the aftershocks are everywhere. A public memorial is set for September 21st. Crowds will gather and tributes will pour in. Politicians across the aisle condemn the attack, but their words won't erase what happened.
So when you see someone celebrating Charlie's murder, call them out. And hell, call their employer.
Some employers already firing or suspending people for their posts about Kirk, impacting teachers, commercial pilots, doctors, and even NFL staff.
Teachers and professors who mocked Kirk's death online, some are being suspended, others doxxed, careers ending overnight.
On social media, people who've criticized Kirk are being called out, their names and photos widely circulated, some using the hashtag revolutionaries in the ranks. One post about an Army officer who allegedly shared direct quotes from Kirk has been viewed more than 7 million times.
They're not giving up their First Amendment rights when they swear an oath to serve in the military.
Absolutely not. They may apply somewhat differently, but the principle is the same.
This is the paradox. Free speech on both sides is under fire. Celebrate the killing, you get fired. Criticize the killing, you get targeted. What does that tell us? Nobody's safe. Once violence becomes an acceptable answer to ideas, everyone loses.
We are oppressed. We are exploited. We are downtrodden. We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights. So the only way we're going to get some of this oppression and exploitation away from us or aside from us is come together against the common enemy.
Manhood in an age of fear. This is where it ties back to men, because somebody has to say it. Men matter, and that's what we do here. For decades, men have been told, sit down, shut up, don't offend, don't question. But men are wired to challenge, to test, to push back. That's not toxic masculinity. That's survival. That's progress. That's leadership. So when men do exactly that, they become targets. Charlie Kirk didn't hide. He didn't play it safe. He showed up, stood tall, and spoke anyway. And whether you loved him or hated him, you can't deny the courage. Because every man who speaks up in 2025 takes the same risk. Maybe not a bullet, but a lost job, a ruined reputation, a canceled life.
Ladies and gentlemen, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. We decided long ago that the dangers of excessive and unwarranted concealment of pertinent facts far outweighed the dangers which are cited to justify it.
Here's the red pill truth. The system doesn't want free men. Free men are unpredictable. Free men question authority. Free men don't bow to narratives. And so every mechanism is deployed to shut them down. Social media bans, media smear campaigns, legal investigation, and now assassinations. We can debate whether Charlie Kirk was right or wrong, but that's missing the point. If a man can be killed for speaking, then any man can. You, me, anyone watching this. The Matrix doesn't care about your opinions. It cares about obedience. Charlie Kirk's death is not the end of a man. It's the beginning of a warning. When speech becomes violence, and violence becomes the answer to speech, society collapses. Men, this is your wake-up call. If you value freedom, if you value truth, if you value even the right to disagree, then you cannot be silent, because silence is exactly what the system wants. And here's the final red pill. They can kill a man, but they cannot kill an idea, not unless we let them.
Manosphere, we working. Protect yourself at all times. This video has officially been highlighted.